Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down, but the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. Solar. Power up.
Audio Fidelity Records presents a new stereophonic sound spectacular.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, Ray. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I was doing my literary. I'm reading a book. You know, Rick, it's funny because in back of me, the Panthers and the Falcons game is on, and you know, is it me? I feel almost sacrilegious that I'm not watching the other NFC South because you know the Buccaneers are in first and we're looking straight ahead, and I'm not trying to come off as cocky. It doesn't interest me, of course, the Falcons being the lesser of the two teams. Yeah. They beat the Panthers, keep decimating each other. That's good for us, but not even worrying about it.
No, I'm not either. But I mean, you know what's an amazing thing? I was looking at the NFC standings, and if you set aside the NFC East and every team in the NFC other than the NFC East and two teams, every other team is 500 or better. Oh, in the entire NFC.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the NFC East, Minnesota, and Atlanta, and everybody else is at least 500.
Yeah. Well, the NFC West makes up for it because it seems like all four of their teams are, winning records, which
it's the same thing, though. It's the same thing with the NFC South, really, other than the Falcons. Everybody's pretty darn good.
Yeah. I mean, have we seen the COVID play out? I mean, we knew there was no preseason and there was the lack of, the time together and teams. But at the end of the day, when they put toe to leather and got this season started, football, that's how they do that football.
Well, behind the scenes, the funny thing is behind the scenes, folks don't know there's behind the scenes. You and I've kind of joked back and forth about, you've been far more concerned about where this is leading with where this is going to go. I've been saying, no. Well, I got to tell you right now, I look at it and I say, I think they're going to have no choice but to extend the season by a week or two because, and to me, this is simple. It's math. It's science. More cases are going to happen. It's going to happen simply because we're coming into that time of year. And as you see the numbers start to go up around the rest of the country, Somebody's going to get it somewhere. It's going to start to happen. And I also think the NFL, there's some smart cookies, and they've already figured out that 1 week of nothing before the Super Bowl. Well, if we delay the season by a week, we can still keep the Super Bowl on time and get a whole nother week of NFL football in.
Well, plus because remember, there's not going to be 150,000 people coming to Tampa Bay to party. There's going to be, as the NFL announced today, there's going to be 20% capacity there at Raymond James, which is probably what it's going to. I think that's not so much optimistic; it's more realistic. But it was funny working it back to you're talking about the season and the start. At the end of this year, at the end of this football season, I think Webster's Dictionary is going to have to do a special entry for the lexicon line out of an abundance of caution, because that's the NFL line for all 32 teams, whether it's a trainer, as the Buccaneers had test today, or if it's a player and right tackle there in New York. It's going to be out of an abundance of caution, and that's the way they have to treat it. Get the testing, contact tracing, keep the separation, and test, and see where it is, and then go from there. And so far, they've been doing a pretty good job.
Well, I think it's amazing that it hasn't been worse. I mean, I really do. I think it's just it's pretty phenomenal that it hasn't been worse. I don't know how it hasn't been worse. And I don't mean, and this is something that bothers me, is every time somebody ends up with COVID, like a team ends up struggling with COVID or whatever, everybody starts going, those idiots in whatever city, like they're all, the only way to get this somehow is to go out and party. And they don't realize that you can just get this going to the grocery store. Somebody goes to the grocery store and gets this, and you end up with it. So I just think it's, look, I think the NFL is smart enough to know that they have an opportunity to capitalize on and extend the season by a week. So don't be shocked if it doesn't happen. My question that I think is interesting, if you extend the season by a couple of weeks, how many more injured players are going to have the opportunity to come back? And what's going to happen if you end up with a player who was put on IR because they thought, well, he's not going to have a chance to come back.
Right.
And then he would have because they extend the season.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with that? Does he still just, you can't use him?
They're going to have to extend the season. And this is not not my doomsday prediction, but it's going to happen. And there's going to be, even with the contact tracing, the separation, the masks, all the social distancing, there's going to be a situation like this was the second week in a row, right? Last week, it was Thursday where everything pops up in Vegas there with the Raiders, and they're scrambling. Like we used the analogy, roller skating on ice. And by Friday afternoon, Sunday's game had been bumped up to 4:05 so they could have a game that's for sure going to go on in the prime time slot. Then today, literally a week later, it pops up that the right tackle there in New York comes in with the positive case, and of course the entire offensive line. Now you have, I think it was a total of 8 players and 2 personnel, just part of the contact tracing protocol, not testing positive, but separated. They go to that next level of testing, and they're keeping an eye on them. But it's like, for me, it was like, and you thought this, Rick, and probably all our Bucs fans out there thought this, that it's the very seven calendars days later. What's going to happen with the Monday night game? And as of right now, we're still a full go. We haven't gotten any more positive cases. They are going to be in that protocol, but that's the way they do this.
Is it just me, or are the Buccaneers catching every break you can this season when it comes to this stuff? I mean, I don't know. And it's not like you could say, well, the Buccaneers are being more careful than everybody else, if y'all remember Berkeley Prep. So it's not like everybody's being more careful. So they are catching every break you can catch. Now, I don't know if that's just karma making up for itself for all the crap that's been dished to this team over the years. I don't know. But it seems like you look at it and go, wow, they're catching every week. It's like, oh, well, whatever team they're going to play, is going to have some COVID issues or some kind of problems.
Hey, if we can, and we could, but if it can just like in this instance, it's Will Henderson, right? Will Hernandez,
Right.
nasty lineman on that. Probably one of the bright spots so far, other than because Andrew Thomas, the rookie left tackle there out of Georgia in New York, had some struggles. He was benched last game, brought back in. But this Hernandez kid, I'm gonna make sure I get his name right. Yeah, it's Will Hernandez. Nasty type of a player, and of course, we're not looking for fortuitous gifts. We've already talked about people that said, though, the 2020 championship, whether it be NHL or World Series, is going to be an asterisk. I don't care about any asterisk. All 32 teams facing the same consequences. But yeah, second week in a row, we lose that offensive line. And of course, we're going to want to put pressure because, Daniel Jones, we've got film on him now. He's not a rookie anymore. But you saw last week, you give that kid 80.
Hey, we actually have a call coming in from Matt Colson.
Oh, let's take that call.
Hold on just a moment. Matt Colson, brother, you there?
Yeah, man.
How you doing, Matt? Welcome to Cup of Ray.
I'm watching. Yeah, I saw that, and he was reading his little biblical psalms or whatever at the opening of the show. I was thinking he was going to get up on a soapbox and give us a little sermon.
It's my naughty and my nice list.
How you doing tonight, brother?
So here's my take on it.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. A week from Tuesday, COVID's going to start to fall off the world. You won't even know what's happening. It'll just miraculously
listen, brother.
The vaccine will come out by December 25th.
I don't want to get into all the politics, Matt. Matt, I don't want to get into all the politics. Hold on. Listen for a second. The whole world is struggling with this. This is not something just in the United States. And I doubt very seriously that Italy and all these other countries are going to shut down just because some politicians in America want their guy elected. It's not going to happen. So let's just put that aside. Let's come on. Let's start to use our brains a little and realize that's not how this works.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm kind of being 3/4 sarcastic. You know that.
We love you for it, Matt.
I don't want to see. Here's what I'm having trouble with, because Ray brought it up, and I didn't realize this was going to happen. The COVID attendance at the Super Bowl is going to be reduced to a third or whatever the hell it is. That's just un-American. I mean, usually you have 100,000 people in the stands, 50,000 people in the parking lot, and 250,000 people visit the city to go wherever it's going to be played so they can go get drunk at a wings joint. And if you can't do that, all the income that brings the Super Bowl to a city, that's why we bid on it, you lose it.
Hey, Matt. Now, Matt, let me stop you right there, because you make a great point. And we go back to the fact that, remember, Tampa was awarded this Super Bowl because LA Stadium wasn't finished or wasn't going to be finished in time. And then they took away that game last year, of course, the 5-interception game that we lose across the pond to the Carolina Panthers. I'm not going to say it turned the season around, but not only did the Glaciers lose the revenue from that home game, but now, you're talking about a 20%. There's still going to be some glitz and glamour, and the lights are on Tampa, live from Tampa Bay. But you're right, Matt. It hits them in the pocketbook, and I'm wondering if the NFL is going to put any money in the Glazers' pockets for that loss of revenue.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know if they have a plan for that. But what Rick was talking about with extending the season because of all of these little COVID pop-ups, that's interesting too. That takes you back to the 60s, where we just went and played championship and then conference and then the championship league game or whatever before they called it a Super Bowl. They just ran it all the way through, but I think they only played like 10 games by total at the end of those years because it was such a small league. So the Players Association would probably have something to say about whether or not you're going to have an off week between the Super Bowl and the end of the championship series that run.
Yeah, I don't think that's even going to be. I don't think there would be any hiccups or any problems there. I don't think the Players Association wouldn't fight that.
Hey guys, if they run the season through December of 2021 at 20% capacity, they'll finally have made the revenue they would have generated on a normal season. I kid, but it's true, right? All the money, the loss of revenues.
Always breaking down the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring up something else here, Rick. You say Thursday night games are worthless. This game is actually
not worthless. Not
it's
worthless.
Kind of like an XFL game where it's competitive, even though it's not beautiful.
Yeah, I don't say it's worthless. I don't say it's worthless. I say they're not the same as if the game was played on Sunday. I say the visiting team in general is screwed.
Right. Well, this week Atlanta's keeping up anyway, and Bridgewater's for real. I don't know.
I agree with
people
you.
People are going to hate me for saying this. I think we should have gone for him long-term wise. And if we're good, I don't think Brady's a bad choice. But now looking at it, you're going to have that.
You've come to that conclusion, Matt. I don't think Brady's a bad choice. Well, holy cow!
Well, it came out wrong. See, now you're on weekdays and you're screwing me up like Peter does. What I'm trying to say is, Bridgewater is real. He's the guy that was in Minnesota before he blew his leg out. And
Matt,
I feel for the guy having to go through all those shit that he had to go through, and look at him now. He's actually paying out. And
Matt,
I think
make no mistake about it.
In 4 years, when we're looking for a new quarterback, what do we do then?
We got Josh Rosen.
He's not going to be here for more than 3 years. I just can't see that happening. And I hope he gets a ring every year because it's fun to watch. But we need to have a contingency plan, and I don't think it's that guy we put on the practice squad.
And I hear that Brady guy. You know, I'm starting to think he's okay.
He can't throw the deep ball. He can't throw the deep ball.
Throw a long ball. Surprised a lot of people.
Hey, Matt, let me back you up.
He dropped one in the pocket the other day that was just gorgeous. But
it was.
I'm just talking about long term. You know, we're going to get spoiled this year. And everybody, I'm already at it. I'm like, we're not winning. What the hell's wrong?
Hey, Matt, let me agree with you.
Who's on the other side
Matt has brought in the breaking news.
Hey,
Matt's brought in the breaking news. Tom Brady's pretty good. Thanks, Matt. Okay, Ray, what were you saying? I'm sorry about that.
No, I was saying that Tom Brady was first choice behind door number one. That's what Bruce Arians said when he said behind door number two. But I would be remiss if I would say that Bridgewater wouldn't have been on my radar had Tom Brady not came here or went to California or not left the Patriots, knowing that Jameis Winston wasn't going to be here. Still wondering what kind of a contract they might have offered Jameis. Probably more than $1 million he's getting there in Louisiana. But no, Matt, Bridgewater is the real deal. And we say, oh, his leg, non-contact, he tweaked that leg. Look at Alex Smith taking a field 3 weeks ago after what he went through. Right. Miraculous stuff. But Bridgewater's the real deal, my friend. You're definitely right on that.
He's impressive. And I just, Carolina's kind of fun to watch. I mean, they've got no McCafferty tonight. Everybody was saying, oh, my God. And they're bringing guys off the bench like the Patriots do, and they're just taking over. I know they're playing Atlanta, but it's fun to watch. And the guys look like they have not missed a step with McCafferty not in the game.
Well, just remember, though, Matt,
right now at halftime, but I doubt they're going to lose the game.
Remember, when the Carolina game does roll around in 3 weeks, all we have to do is get one or two of their offensive linemen onto the COVID list. Our defensive line will apply that pressure, not let Bridgewater get comfortable, and they won't look as good as they do tonight against those lowly Falcons.
Well, you're right about that. I understand the competition makes it look better, but he's standing in the pocket. He took a shot about halfway through the second quarter. He got blasted, and they should have had something to say about that with the flag, but they didn't. And he just hopped up and did his thing. He's not acting like he's scared to get hit, and he's keeping up with the defenses and calling the proper checkoffs and all that other stuff. He just looks like a good quarterback to me. Better than Jameis would have ever been, in my opinion. And people are going to get mad and want to write that down or something. But if Bridgewater had been here instead of Jameis, we would have been much better off and wouldn't have needed Tom Brady. Had everything been equal and he'd not been in a cast for 2 years, whatever the hell it was.
But just for the sake of clarity,
it is still unclear who or what intervened, but I can assure you that the United States government was not involved.
Sorry, Matt. I'm sorry, brother.
Want to take a walk?
You're about to. No, I'm kidding. Listen, the bottom line is this. The Buccaneers are where they need to be right now. The league's going through difficulties like everybody else is. This is something everybody's going to have to juggle and have to deal with, and this league knows how to make money. and they're going to find the way to make the most possible money that they can out of a bad situation. And if Tampa doesn't make as much money as they would have in a normal Super Bowl year, you weren't even going to get the Super Bowl anyway this year. So it was, you got it because LA wasn't ready. So just sit there, look at it and say, whatever we get, bonus. Now let's just go watch the Buccaneers play in their home stadium.
Are they at home this week? I haven't looked at the schedule.
No.
Are they playing in New York? Are they playing here in Tampa?
Playing in Jersey.
Jersey.
In Jersey.
Jersey.
Well,
the Meadowlands.
Hopefully they don't get the winter storm that I've been living through for the last 3 days.
Well, see, that's
just more ice the other day than snow cones. I swear to God, it was crazy. I lost a 30-foot tall tree in my front yard.
I saw that, Matt. I saw that pine tree you were talking about. All them branches snapped off, and your power was out for a while there.
Well, I can tell you here in Carolina right now, which is where the game is taking place that you're watching on TV. I live here, and there were trees down in my neighborhood from Zeta coming through.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty bad, actually. That wasn't much of a hurricane.
And it's all the way here. Yeah, it's all the way here. Some of the comments we got coming in right now. Thursday night football is surprisingly competitive. Yeah.
That was me.
There's Matt.
I like to write it down so I have a script.
Yeah, there you go. When you get here, so I can just read what I have to say. Maybe Johnny Dean. Maybe the Falcons do better coming from behind instead of leading. Yeah, well, it's got to be something different. I mean, we know leading doesn't work for them. So, what is it? Do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. I mean, you just let's go ahead and just suck it.
Well, I'm going to let you go so Johnny can call in and correct everything I said. And
have a good one, Matt. We're going to be here for a while, so feel free to call back.
All right, guys. You have a good night.
All right.
You too, Matt. Take care.
Let's go ahead and bring Joshua in here. Right?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring Joshua in here.
Mr.
Hey, brother.
John, boys. How's everyone
doing?
doing?
Man. Wow. Good. Nada. Let's catch up here real quick on the comments. We've got the UK has shut down. Yeah, I mean, this is not this. I'm sorry that this is not some election game. I hear you. I hear the thinking, but yeah, it's just.
I like that one.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
But you just can't think that way.
Hey Matt, Rick, the weather on Monday night in New York, 45 for a high on Monday day, 41 for a low, probably in the low 40s at kickoff, and they've got wind swirling. So yeah, it's going to be one of those types of games where That's okay. It's a winter. It might be one of the the Bucs got lucky with the schedule. Most of our northern games are in domes late in the season, so this might.
I do not want a Giants game coming down to a kicker. I just don't.
I do with Ryan Suckup. I'll take it 7 days
listen,
of the week.
He's gonna miss at some point. Joshua and I just talked about
already.
This. Yeah, we just had this conversation. Joshua and I did.
Well, do tell
on the Audible about the fact that I said yesterday on the Audible, I'm terrified of this coming down to a kicker because Suckup's been fantastic, and he's gonna miss at some point. He's going to miss at some point, and that doesn't make him a bad kicker. What's that?
I agree with you. I said he's due. He's due to miss one.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't mean he's a bad kicker.
But can it get any worse than Cairo Santos beating us 20-19 2 weeks ago in Chicago? I think we've hit our low for the year with the kicking, and Ryan Suckup can power it through. I don't want him from outside 45 or 50.
Do you see this crap I'm getting from Johnny Dean? Matt Colson, I get you, bro. Rick Hughes loves to twist your words. He's a salesman, so go figure, right? But I'm wondering what kind of long-term solution they're looking at, if so. Oh man, Johnny.
I'll tell everybody something. Who cares? why are you worrying about the long-term solution? We still got another year of Tom Brady.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
Who knows who the head coach is going to be in 2 years? So we're going to start talking about that.
I get it, Josh. We can talk about it in 2 years. There's no reason. But let me just tell you right now, if you're not at least on board with the possibility that after 2 years of development in Bruce Arians' system behind Tom Brady, if those two get to come together at all, if you're not on board with the fact that Josh Rosen could be your starter when TB exits stage, then I don't know. I mean,
I've got something to say about that because I'm the doubter when it comes to that. I mean, he went to 2 teams and nobody was impressed, and everybody says, "Well, he was a 10th overall draft pick." Well, guess what, Ray? Guess what, Ray? Blaine Gabbert was a 10th overall draft pick, and you're not, people aren't using that as the same rationality.
I mean, Josh Rosen in 2 years has 4 offensive coordinators. Blaine Gabbert in 8 years had 9 offensive coordinators. No, I'm not here to try to tell you the algebraic expression that equals to what kind of bad luck they had. But what I'm saying is 2 years in the biscuit system behind a Tom Brady, I saw Rosen. He had the tools to come out in the first round. He just has not produced at the pro level.
So did Jameis, and he kept the same guy. What's that?
Coach. Then they got a new coach in Arizona, and they had a chance to get Kyler Murray, so they took Kyler Murray. And then last year, you knew that he was just a guy to bring in to see what he had. And then they got Tua Tagovailoa. So what are you going to?
But if you draft a guy 10th overall to be your quarterback, well, hold on.
Different head coach.
If any team, can you name any other time, somebody's drafted a guy 10th overall, you gave up on him the next year because, okay, now there's a different head coach. Okay, so he gets rid of the quarterback that's supposed to solve everything, and then you bring in the new guy who's going to solve everything, and so he goes somewhere else, and the same thing happened. There's a reason they keep going to a new quarterback.
No,
Johnny Dean's calling in to tell me how wrong I am.
I just had this conversation with somebody about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones.
Hey, Johnny.
The Falcons.
What's up?
Hey, brother.
I think they both leave with the new GM and new coach.
Josh Allen, I don't want to hear who cares from you because we've already went through this shit with Gruden, okay? So I don't want another situation like that. This team is built with a good, solid foundation that can continue going. 2 years from now, I want a plan in place to keep it going. That's what I want.
Who says they're not going to draft a quarterback early next year?
That we had with Gruden, okay? Or one.
Who says they don't take a quarterback next year in the first round?
We got a team right now that can go a decade, okay? That's what I want. Screw one and done shit. I'm not with that at all.
Wait, did you guys have a fight earlier?
With the language tonight, fellas?
Did I miss something earlier? Did you guys have was it the Sharks and the Jets? Did you guys have a fight tonight?
Well, you guys keep downplaying the importance of continuing this team's run, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm too stinking old to wait another decade for another Super Bowl.
He is old. He is old.
Not funny because you're old. No, listen, I get it. I understand that. Okay, look, a plan needs to be in place. All right, fine. But not in week 8 of this year. Okay, not coming into week 8 in a year where the Super Bowl is in your hometown and you've got a shot to be there.
Yay, whoopee, yeah. But what are we going to do after that? I don't care about.
Well, you still got Brady for another year. So my point is, you
That's
can
2 years. If we look, my point is, in 2 years, we're still going to be drafting in the 30s. Where are you going to get a quarterback there?
Hey, guys,
Johnny, hold on. Where'd we get this guy?
We have a quarterback, Josh Rosen, and Blaine Gabbert.
Are you going to franchise your friggin' future on Josh Rosen? You better have a backup plan, bud.
Listen, let me tell you something, guys. We were talking about Josh Rosen, the bad luck. He's had 3 offensive coordinators in 2 years, gets traded. Again, little Kyler Murray.
I know all that. And he's getting traded for a reason.
I'm setting you guys up for a question. Of all the teams right now that are in the lower third of the NFL that may have their franchise quarterback, may have a quarterback they drafted in the last 3 years, how many of them are not having this question right now? Every one of their fans are having this call in sports radio talking about, what if we finish number 1 and Trevor Lawrence is there? By the way, Trevor Lawrence just got announced he has COVID-19. So I didn't know if you guys knew that. I just saw a break.
Right. You tell me who these teams are that are talking so much about needing a quarterback.
Sam Darnold takes a franchise quarterback 3 years ago out of UCLA. Now they're talking about what would the Jets do? The Giants, Daniel Jones was a first-round pick. No,
okay, so maybe the Jets and New England, because let me tell you something.
And New England.
Cam ain't the answer. Okay. So, okay, you've got those two teams are going for the quarterback. That's fine. But who's to say when these new quarterbacks come out? I mean, you're gonna have other quarterbacks come available. This league is not short on quarterbacks right now. And all I'm saying is, let's deal with this problem in February.
Well, no, but in 2 years of Rosen being over there at the Advent Health Facility, One Buck Place, the coaches will at least know if he is a possible option.
Sure, but there's no, I guarantee you they already know, okay? I promise you, they already know. Having looked at him on the field, they already know whether or not he's the answer, okay?
Didn't they already know that Blaine Gabbert was the answer?
No, I don't think anybody says he's the answer. They say he's a good backup.
They went out and they brought him in. I mean,
as a good backup. As a good backup.
Come on, Johnny.
If Tom Brady,
you're better than this.
Hey, if Tom Brady stubs his toe next Sunday and for some reason can't play that game, Blaine Gabbert comes in at quarterback. Is it the same game? No, but with this team right now, I still give him a 75% chance to win that game, hands down. And that's only because
even more than you already have.
Right,
Joshua, we can barely hear you.
Oh, my fault. Well, I am at work, so I got to be in a couple.
Oh, sorry, brother. He's in the lingerie department at Walmart.
Talking about the quarterback situation, I get it, especially if you're a longtime fan of the Bucs and you've been through the suffering and you want to plan in place. But at this point, you still have another year of Tom Brady. You don't know which veteran quarterbacks will be available. You don't know what your draft pick status will be like.
And the thing is, you have at least a lot of things another year with
that are variables. You could still get a guy in the end of first round to learn under Tom Brady and then be the guy. I mean, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick, 199 overall. I mean, it's not like you need necessarily a first round pick to be an all-star. Look how many first round picks fall out of the league. You want to talk about one? Josh Rosen on the team.
You guys are gonna shit your pants when it's Jameis Winston next year comes back here for a low contract, and then I'll be sitting there going, totally.
Kudos, Ray. Kudos.
Nice shot.
You just play it out this year and then see what's going on next year. Maybe they address it. Maybe they get somebody in here where they can, tutor or learn under him. Maybe there's. I mean, look at Teddy Bridgewater, perfect example. Injury, Saints took a risk on him, brought him in there. Jets took a risk on him, brought him in there.
This is my point. You have Brady for at least one more year. So it's not like, my God, we better have a plan for next year.
All over Matt Colson, and Matt Colson, if you're still listening, I got your back, brother, because that is a concern. And especially after watching the Patriots this year.
No, Johnny.
They didn't have a plan.
Johnny.
Bill Belichick, the great Bill Belichick, didn't have a plan to replace Brady.
Johnny, I jumped all over Matt Colson about the fact that he thought COVID had to do with the election. Okay? That's what I jumped all over Matt Colson about. Okay?
Yeah, but he changed the conversation. You were still jumping on him and what was it you said, Matt? Plank or some shit?
Yeah.
I don't care. Plank.
Yeah, he thought I was going to make him walk the plank. I was just messing with him after he thought that COVID was going to go away after the election, like it wasn't real. Johnny, tell Matt how real COVID is.
Oh, COVID is extremely real, dude.
So
fake news.
Me and Tracy both can tell you that 100%.
So anyway, the bottom line, we can go through this all night. The bottom line is this: Josh Rosen has done nothing anywhere on the pro level for anybody to have any sense of confidence in him.
Neither did Steve Young.
That doesn't mean
Steve Young for 5 years. Okay.
Neither did Ryan Leaf. You want to throw out, come on. Okay. Come on. This is simple. All right. Right now, you've got Brady for at least one more year. All right. Now, is this something
that he stays healthy?
Hold on, Johnny. Let me finish my freaking thought that I've been trying to get out for the last 5 minutes.
Are you talking to Matt, though? Because you don't have to make this point to me, Rick. I'm down with you.
I'm not making it to you. I'm trying to make it in general. Okay. The thing is this. Right now, you have to deal with the future. Okay. You don't have to deal with it in week 8 of this season because you have a quarterback coming back next year. Look, you're not going to solve your backup quarterback this year beyond what you already have. All right. What you have now is what you're going with. Okay, so you're not going to solve this whole problem right now. So, okay, let's look to the future. Think about a plan. Let's do all that in February. But right now, Tom Brady's the frickin' quarterback on a team that looks like it may be one of the best, at least, teams in the NFL.
But
let's go with that for the moment.
And you completely missed my point.
And if
Blaine Gabbert's
if we're worrying about that, let's worry about Chris Godwin. Let's worry about Shaq Barrett. Let's worry about Levante David. Let's worry about Donovan Smith.
We are speculating. We're fans. We don't control the team. We don't. I just said I hope we have a plan in place.
I agree.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I mean, to sit here
and we can speculate on this stuff. That's what fans do. What are you talking about? It don't matter. We can speculate on who we want. Just what we want to see done.
Sure.
That's what fans
you
do.
Yes, you can speculate. You can speculate. This is what everybody's speculating. How many people have you heard speculating about, well, if Jameis was still here? Yeah, fans speculate. It doesn't always make sense. Doesn't mean, okay, well, that's right, because it's a fan speculating, and that's what fans do.
I just speculated 5 minutes ago, but I took care of that before I came on.
and I think it's going to come down to a kick in Giant Stadium.
I do too, Johnny, and it terrifies me. It terrifies me.
The Meadowlands.
Oh, God.
Oh, it just terrifies me.
Who is the Giants kicker?
Well, guy throw Ray some bones, man. You know how he is about kickers, and I don't care what Ray Kennedy you say, position you played in high school, you played kicker.
I did. I was kickoffs, and it was bad. But I'm reading right now, guys. I just Googled Giants kicker. Tell me this isn't right. The first name that comes up is Chandler Cantanzaro.
Yeah,
he's their current kicker.
Yeah.
Come on. Why
it terrifies me, man. This whole thing terrifies me.
So anyway,
didn't they have a nickname, Can't Kickazaro?
It was something, but it was like, geez, are you kidding me? But yeah, it's funny though. We talk about the fact that Suck Up again, 6 extra points, 6 for 6 in a long field goal last weekend. I called it before the season. He's number 7 in the league in kicking right now, but I still think I think he's a Pro Bowl kicker. I think the TB is going to put in 18 touchdowns in the first 7 games, right, guys? Isn't that what they said? The most ever for a Buccaneers quarterback in the first 7 games.
For Tom Brady.
For Tom Brady, yeah, just pitching them. But I think he's going to be enough extra points and field goals that, and then look at the big one. Gostkowski missed last week. Could have put Tennessee and tied the game with Pittsburgh, man.
And that's the kicker everybody was saying we should get. You remember that?
And Suckup used to kick for the Titans. They gave him a huge contract.
Everybody was saying, go get Gostkowski. So I don't know. I mean, it's funny because the thing is this, I'm not saying you don't have a plan. I'm saying right now, figuring out who the quarterback's going to be 3 years from now, it's not going to happen. Okay. And it doesn't have to. All right. Yes, you need a plan. You better start looking for that. We agree.
The plan I'm talking about isn't what quarterback. It's how are you going to position yourself to get a quarterback?
Well, in the same way that what I think they ought to be doing right now with this embarrassment of riches that they have talent-wise, the trade deadline's coming. There are people that you can trade, and if you don't do it now, try and do it in the offseason and start collecting picks. It's what New England did for years. Just bank picks, tons of picks. That's what you need to do to keep that depth and keep the young guys coming in. And you're not going to be able to keep all these older free agents all the time. So that's what you're going to have to do. And everybody's going to freak out.
Falcons took the lead.
What's that?
I said the Falcons are up 16-14.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
They'll is there time left on the clock, because that tells you what's going to happen. But
third quarter.
Yeah. That's why they lead.
Shaq Barrett's a free agent after this year, and Dominican, I don't know if he plays into his 70s. JPP's still around for another year. Okay. There's going to be pieces that are going to have to maybe they look to get a big offensive lineman this offseason just to continue fortifying that offensive line. How much are we going to be able to pay? How much money are we going to have to sign Chris Godwin to his next contract, and how much money is Chris Godwin going to be looking for?
Who knows? Because that'll happen in the off season with the movement and before the draft. You can pretty much guarantee what is going to be drafted just by watching the trades and the cuts and the right after draft.
If the season ended right now, though, Johnny, Chris Godwin on his body of work so far in 2020 and what he's meant to this team when he was out and how our passing game stopped and how he's looked, is he getting WR1 money? He's getting wide receiver 1 money.
Is there wide receiver one money?
That'll depend. I think they'll give him an extension before they give him another contract. They'll give him a contract extension, give him a little bit more money, and let him prove himself a little bit more.
Is an extension or is it
year really playing?
Well, this is an interesting question because all these injuries are hurting his stats, and you have to understand that his value. The more he's injured right now, the fact is, if you franchise tag him later, his value is going down.
What do you mean going down?
I don't see a franchise tag. I'd say they'll give him an extension because he's had out of 3 years he's been hurt 2 of them. So
right, and this is not.
That's a good point. Johnny makes a good point, right? So no team's going to step up and give him a 5-year.
Right. That's what I'm saying about the fact that you're not sitting here looking at Chris Godwin and saying, "Yeah, we can count on him," because the Buccaneers haven't been able to count on him. Now you can count on him when he's in the game better than any receiver anywhere at all in the league. Period. I would say.
Rick, let me ask you and Johnny this though. Seriously. Never had problems hitting him before, and he was Jameis's guy 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. Is Mike Evans the fact that he's a go up and get it, stop and catch kind of receiver and not a yak receiver? Is that what's costing him throws? I know teams are doubling on him, they're picking their poison, but let's be honest, Mike Evans has never had problems getting open. We're just seeing Tom Brady.
Wait. Ray, hold on. Did you see the game 3 weeks ago where Mike Evans was playing out of the slot and balling out? And
he's playing. You're right. He got to and played yards after catch, but then when they put him on the outside alone, it seems like his game just goes away.
Well, it don't go away. It's just
it's not Brady's game.
It's back to Brady throws the ball to the open guy.
That's exactly
Mike
right.
Evans is a security blanket. They know Mike Evans is like Tony Gonzalez. He'll go up and get the ball. And that's why Brady wanted to come here.
Well, I don't think Brady is a guy who throws up these 50-50 balls very often. That's what I think is different than Winston or whatever. Is I think Winston would throw the ball up for Evans to go up and get. I don't think Brady's that guy. I think Brady throws to the open man or gets rid of the ball.
Well, I've seen Brady throw to 50-50s.
Of course. I'm not saying never.
Oh, yeah. So when we go to that, when the Buccaneers talk about that 4 receiver slot they're mentioning now with Antonio Bryant coming in, why do I always think, and I know Godwin's inside and you've got, AB on the outside. Why do I always think, and you made the point, you actually used the reference to say Tony Gonzalez, comparing him toward a Mike Evans. Mike Evans is totally more gifted and faster. Hasn't had the body career he's had, but Mike Evans is a gifted receiver. But why do I always think that I'd love to see him more on the inside, like with a Gronk running those down in patterns and running those cross patterns, as opposed to being the outside receiver going to the flag and catching the 50-50 ball? Because Evans has got the speed. He's got elusive speed.
You think I don't know that speed is his. I don't know that speed's his thing. His size is his. He's big for his size, but yeah.
True. What about you, Johnny?
He's got some speed. He's not a blazer, but remember who Mike Evans' mentor was in the NFL?
Mike
Johnny
Evans.
Manziel. I'm kidding.
No, who was Mike Evans' mentor, not some quarterback.
He came to the Bucs, and his mentor was I don't know.
Vincent Jackson.
Right, VJ.
Okay.
Of course, first year, yeah.
Okay, they played the same sort of game, and Mike Evans will eventually end up going into the middle like that. It's all in game planning, though. It's where they want him.
Yeah, dangerous as heck. But think about that 4-receiver set and the offensive line. Hats off to them for the job they're doing, giving Tom, the 2 seconds to throw the ball. But man, you talk about AB, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and who's your fourth? Scotty Miller, or maybe a big tight end like Gronkowski, and in that set. Oh God!
Right.
And then a receiver out of the backfield with hands. Does anyone think that there's even a 5% chance that Leonard Fournette gets a start in the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Sure. If
yes.
Yeah. I mean, if Rojo struggles or drops passes or anything like that, yes, absolutely.
I thought he would have got it this week. Not that I'm saying we all hate on Rojo.
I think they're giving him one more shot. I think they're giving him another shot. By the way, guys, we're going to go away for a minute and pay some bills, and we'll be back shortly. Okay.
All right. Later, guys.
All right.
Later, Johnny.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
All right. For just one moment, I'm going to do something here just for Bucs fans all around who've been around for a very long time. Guys who have, you guys will remember this, and it's just a fun little moment for all of us. A little flashback on where that sound comes from. We will
My first
right
album.
back. Yeah, we will be right back.
As the Buccaneers are being introduced from Tampa Stadium. Incredible. B-U-C-C-A-N-E-E-R-S. Go Bucs! And I've never heard a damn like this.
Well, you're from Florida, but this whole area has been turned on by a football team, and it's really a great thing. I've never seen people collectively get down when
All right, guys.
That was my first album. Remember WDAE gave away those square vinyl album that played on the 45, and
That's funny.
played it and played it and played it, and just awesome stuff, brother. Hey, but yeah, so we're all on the same page as far as Josh Rosen's the future, right? Just kidding. I had to come back with something.
Oh man.
Hey, let me ask you this question. I forgot what I was going to ask you. No, go ahead, brother.
Well, no, I was okay. To me, what is going through my mind as I look at, and this is actually, we're probably gonna cut out of here pretty soon. Everybody can go watch the rest of the game. But what I want to mention is the fact that, to me, guys, it's simple. We're in the middle of an epic, unforgettable, wonderful, amazing season that we should all be relishing and enjoying and soaking up every moment of, sucking the marrow out of. We need to be this is a season that you want to remember. And to be sitting here in week 8 trying to figure out if the 4th string quarterback is the future in 3 years. I just all that I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say there doesn't need to be a plan. I'm not trying to say people don't need to think. I'm not trying to say that the coaching staff and organization doesn't need to be have some sort of eye on what to do in the future. All that I am saying, and it's very, very simple. Right now, mid-season, right now, you're not solving who's going to be the quarterback 3 years from now. And right now, mid-season 2020, in this kind of a year, with everything about it, you know what I want to talk about? This freaking year. There's a big game on Monday night. I don't care about the fourth-string quarterback who's not even really on the team. He's on the practice squad, and you haven't heard a peep about since he got on the team. And people are talking about him.
You sound like someone who's had a couple of beers and you're sitting in the cheap seats and you're enjoying the hell out of this game. And I agree with you, but I counter with the fact that after years of trying to figure out if this season Trent Dilfer was going to know how to throw a screen pass, or if Testaverde was going to not be colorblind and quit throwing interceptions, or if
I was there for all of it.
I mean, if Tony Dungy's offense was going to try to figure out how to not score 3 points and go into a prevent defense, it's almost like I think that some of the questions, I think sometimes when we talk about, the future or what's going on with contracts and stuff, it's almost like they say, don't stare at the sun during an eclipse because you'll go blind. And I'm not saying that we're not fully focused on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, this record-setting Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, because the best times are still yet to come. But I think that some people are almost like they don't want to stare at it and take it for granted.
No, I understand. You're afraid. People are afraid to enjoy this because you've been burned so much. But I say for the exact reasons that you're talking about, colorblind quarterbacks, MRSA in the locker room, big name free agents coming in and cutting off their fingertips. The
Alvin Harper tipping, strippers over in Tampa and not knowing how to use it.
After another. Jameis Winston's Uber ride. There's one thing after another. Okay, I hear you, and that's why all the more reason to suck the marrow out of this season.
Oh, 100%.
And because let me tell you something, the bad times are going to come again. You don't believe me? Ask Bill Belichick. Okay, they had a ridiculous run, and it's probably never to be repeated. Okay, but for right now, and by the way, that may be a shock to you Kansas City fans, but you don't already have 9 Super Bowl appearances. I know it's hard to believe, but they sure do think they do. But man, this is a great year. We're sitting here talking about Josh freaking Rosen, and he's on the practice squad. I want to talk about the New York Giants. I want to talk about the game this week. And if you really want to jump ahead, maybe go to the Saints, and I'll still be cautionary about that.
Well, I want to talk about Antonio Brown. I want to talk about the fact that I want to talk about the fact that again, the first NFL player in NFL history to set 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000-yard punt return in the same season. He goes to the Pro Bowl as a punt returner that year. But I'm going to turn it negative on you, Rick. That there's just a lot of mouths to feed, and I know we've got Tom, the Pied Piper Brady up front there, and everybody's following him. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of mouths to feed, and it's almost going to take as much work to continue the flow moving forward smoothly. Just Tom doing his thing and everyone falling in line, as it is at some point. You're just wondering, is there going to be another shoe that drops?
Let me ask you, which player on the Buccaneers, now that Antonio Brown has come in, which player on the Buccaneers is going to complain that they're not getting fed enough?
Leonard Fournette.
I don't see it coming.
I don't. Obviously, he's the low-hanging fruit because he's had problems before. I still think he's a good guy. I don't think that there's anyone. I just think that if there are some people that start to feel like they're not getting, they all want to be part of a winning team. But man, right. Katie bar the door if anything goes south or we start having some issues. But I don't see it happening because right. Tom's the one distributing the biscuit. So I don't see it happening. But man, when we sign Antonio Brown, I'm just like, they've got it. They're going to have charts to make sure everybody gets fed.
Yeah, I agree. I understand. I agree. Actually, we are starting to have some connection issues here.
I see that.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down for the night.
Hey, brother, it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, it has been nice talking to you. And sorry about this, guys. It's ending kind of abruptly, but we've got some stuff going on here.
For the record, though, before we exit, I'm not wearing any pants.
It is still unclear who or what intervened, but I can assure you that the United States government was not involved.
Have a good night, everybody.
Hey, Rick, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
See ya.